Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments yesterday over President Donald Trump's emergency request to roll back nationwide injunctions blocking his executive order to end birthright citizenship.
Samuel Alito sounding sympathetic.
The practical problem is that there are 680 district court judges, and they are dedicated and they are scholarly, and I'm not impugning their motives in any way, but sometimes they're wrong.
But Justice Elena Kagan says the ban on birthright citizenship is different because all the courts seem to agree the ban is unconstitutional.
This case is very different from a lot of our nationwide injunction cases in which many of us have expressed frustration at the way district courts are doing their business.
And Justice Sonia Sotomayor noting the High Court has repeatedly reaffirmed the right to citizenship for every child born in this country.
ABC's Rachel Scott reporting shots fired outside of an Antioch strip mall yesterday afternoon, leaving one of the shooters in the hospital. This woman tells Channel 4 those bullets were flying outside the Antioch tobacco and beer store.
But the good thing is that I ducked, I dodged the bullet, because if not, it would have hit me right in the head. God has a purpose, and that's why we're still here,
Police say the second person involved in that shooting ran away and has not yet been found. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major market indexes were mixed on Wall Street Thursday. The Dow was up 272 points at close. The S&P 500 gained 24 and the Nasdaq fell 34 points. Investors responded to mixed news on the economy. Sales at retail stores and restaurants rose 0.1% from April to March, slowing from the previous month, while U.S. wholesale prices dropped in April for the first time in more than a year. Coming off its strongest April on record and an 11-month run of cargo increases, the Port of Long Beach is preparing for a double-digit decline in shipments for May due to tariffs that were paused earlier this month. The port CEO says consumers can expect fewer choices and higher prices. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Well, stock futures are all pointing up this morning. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials up 271. S&P is up 24 points. Nasdaq, however, has just turned negative. It's the Nasdaq futures are down 35 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
All right, everybody. How many people we got watching right now, KGB, on the pre-show comment? 31? You know what I need to do? I need to give, concert tickets or something, some sort of a prize for people that actually tune in pre-show. Because that shows dedication and loyalty. So thank you for those people. Here's the deal. I'm not going to talk about this on the radio because people don't care if they're listening on the radio, but another surprise from the IT department. We can't get the logo up, so enjoy the. Well, you know what? At least the date and the time is correct. At least that. Oh, you can barely see it on the stream? Oh, whatever. All right. So anyway, enjoy that. To be honest, you might like that better than the. I think the whole WTN thing, sometimes it looks a little ghetto. You know what I mean? I think just whatever. All right, moving right along. So enjoy the trees. Maybe it's relaxing. Happy Friday. Not going to make a big deal out of it. And Joan Jones is coming up with the weather and all that stuff. Whatever. All right. Traffic coming up. See you in a few.
Looking pretty good this morning so far. We've checked on 24, on 40, and on 65. So far, no delays. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you? It is Friday, May 16th of 2025. So, couple of things. Number one, I believe, and Joan's going to join me here in a second. Joan, I believe that we are weather aware today. I want people to know that you've got to also be wildlife aware today.
What? Wildlife aware?
On my way in, I don't think, is it rutting season for deer?
Oh.
I don't know if it is or not. I have no idea when that is. But, man, they're everywhere. I was flying down Lebanon, I guess it's Lebanon Pike, whatever it is, heading towards like Old Hickory going west, which is a very busy road. I mean, not at, 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm driving, but whatever. There were like 5 deer in the middle of the road.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major, it's not a freeway or whatever, but I mean, it's a big road.
So, did they run off when you approached?
No. It was like they were daring me to run over them. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Get the hell out of the way. And so finally he scurried off. But I mean, coming down Nonneville too, which is a far less known road. It's kind of a country road, whatever. But same thing. So the deer are out and about. Also,
Wow.
Almost ran over a skunk. But for this skunk, that skunk is very lucky that I'm, even at the ripe old age of 57, I've still got the reflexes of like a 20-year-old. So I missed the skunk. But the wildlife, they are out and about this morning. So just letting you know, yeah, it was a hazardous
I
drive.
thought I
on my
lived
way
in the boonies. I think you live in the boonies.
The Goonies?
Boonies.
Good movie.
I don't consider myself living in the boonies. I live up by the lake and whatever. Nobody cares. Anyway, all right. So real quick, because then we got a lot of business to attend to. So weather, real quick, timeline. Because I heard the weather person say that I was going to say weather woman, but I don't know what the proper. Anyway, so the timeline. What is the timeline?
So Stefano is telling us after 4 o'clock this afternoon, all the way through tomorrow morning, around, I think, 8 or 9 o'clock. That's the timeline. And this sounds pretty serious. Now, he says it's a 3 out of 5 for most of us. It's a 4 out of 5 severity level or...
Yeah.
From 40 north. So that includes, parts of Nashville.
Well, north of 40 is me.
Yep.
Right,
So he says don't get involved with thinking about, like, is it a level 3 or a level 4? He said everybody's going to have severe weather. And we have to be careful, high wind, lots of rain. But there is a threat of tornadoes with this one.
All right. Well, then we'll all be, as we always are here at WTN, we'll all be, on guard and on alert. And we'll pop in, even 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's what we do.
It looks like 11 o'clock at night is when the storms really pick up.
11 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm looking at their website right now.
So I will be drugging Bandit probably by about 5 or 6.
Good plan.
Yes, because Bandit is, we actually drugged him yesterday.
Why?
You know what? Can I be honest? I don't know. I think because Amy told me to, and I just don't ask any questions at this point. But she said the storms were going to come in, and
There was a chance of storms yesterday afternoon. Did you have any?
No. But Bandit sure had a good time.
Yeah.
He was up, and he woke up like about 1:30 in the morning, and I hear Bandit coming down the steps because I do my work in the basement. I hear him coming down, and he had finally the high from the pills that we give him to deal with the storms. The high that he feels had obviously worn off, and now he was looking for like Doritos and Twinkies. He clearly had the munchies.
Yeah. Poor guy.
And I didn't help him. Anyway. Coming up, 5:35, because I heard the weather person there during our weathercast say something about this morning, and I didn't think we had anything expected this morning.
Sort of west of the city, there is a chance of storms.
Okay.
That way, yeah.
Keep your eye on the sky, folks. That's all I can say. Keep your ear to the radio, and if you're watching on YouTube, one eye on the computer and the other eye on the sky. Moving on. It is 5:11.
Well said, Dan.
It really wasn't well said. Thank you, though, Joan. So Donald Trump is getting ready to head back to America. He's wrapping up his speech there in the United Arab Emirates. I got to tell you, this has been a great trip for the president. By the way, I do know about James Comey and what this guy did, where he. I don't want to do it here. I want to do it at 5:35. But you folks on the super text line, I know what James Comey did. James Comey basically posted on, I guess it was his Instagram, where he said shell formation. It was a picture of a shell formation. And he said walking along the beach had an interesting shell formation. And the shells spelled out 8647. Now, for you folks that obviously, don't know what 8647 means, 86 basically means in pop culture these days to eliminate 47, the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump. James Comer, of course, James Comey, former head of the FBI, really mortal arch enemy of Donald Trump. He posted that on his Instagram. And it basically is him, some people would say, and I would agree, it is basically him telling folks that Donald Trump needs to be eliminated. Donald Trump, who came within, how close, Joan? How close? It was like a half of a quarter of an inch of getting his head blown apart by an assassin's bullet. And then there was, of course, that second attempt. So 2 assassination attempts, and now the former director of the FBI is posting on social media 8647. And bottom line is, if you had paid attention to all of the Elon Musk and Donald Trump protests over the past, couple of months, they all were saying 8647 on their stupid little signs. 8647. Eliminate 47. Kill Donald Trump is basically, the new mantra for these jackholes on the left. So James Comey, former FBI director, is literally calling for the assassination of Donald Trump. Would you say that's going too far, Joan? It might be. 8647. Is that going too far, saying that he is calling for the assassination of Trump or the elimination of Donald Trump? A lot of people are saying that that is what James Comey is calling for with this post that he put out on Instagram. Interesting bunch of shells that spelled out 8647. He, by the way, then takes the post down and says, I had no idea that 8647 could be interpreted as violence against Donald Trump. Yeah, that is his flex. That is his excuse. And if you haven't heard about it, it is a very, very, very big deal this morning. It really broke yesterday, I think about 6, 7 o'clock last night, and really exploded overnight. So we'll talk about that at 5:35. I do want to discuss that and a whole lot of other things. I do have some audio from Donald Trump and his speech in the United Arab Emirates. Another big, big deal has been struck. By the way, if you would, watch us on the socials. If you want to watch us on Facebook, if you want to watch us on YouTube and X, you can. Just find us, 997WTN.com. Also, if you would, Super Talk 99.7, take the Daily Dan poll on YouTube. And the Daily Dan poll today, perfect for a Friday, and we'll explore this in more detail here in a little bit. But who gets today's Al Pacino Award for being the most out of order? And so our 3 choices are James Comey. I keep wanting to call him James Comer. James Comey, former FBI director, for reasons that I just talked about. We have him. We have Bruce Springsteen, because he is out there in Europe bashing Donald Trump. We'll talk about that as well. Who was the third?
Jake Tapper.
Jake Tapper. So, Joan, those are my 3 nominations to get the Out of Order Award today. James Comey, Bruce Springsteen, or Jake Tapper.
We also have the write-in option. I'll go look through them as well.
Yeah, we have a write-in option. If you have someone that you would like to nominate for today's award, you most certainly can. I'll bring up the super text line here momentarily. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Wow, nothing happening this morning. Everything looks great on 24. 40 is fine this morning and no problems on 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Appreciate it. As far as your weather for today, a high of 87. Strong storms expected this afternoon into tonight. Saturday, a high of 88, scattered showers. And on Sunday, high of 84 and scattered showers as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so Donald Trump. I think clearly a successful trip to the Middle East, and this is part of what the president had to say yesterday. I think maybe it was last night at some point, but he was talking about all of these great trade deals, not to mention, of course, China.
We just reached a fantastic trade deal, as you know, with the United Kingdom, which was wonderful. And we have another big one that we just reached with China. The China deal is a very big deal. It's in the process of continuing to be formed. But they wanted to make that deal very badly. And we have, at the same time, 150 countries that want to make a deal, but you're not able to see that many countries. So at a certain point over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think Scott and Howard will be sending letters out essentially telling people, it would be very fair, but we'll be telling people what they'll be paying to do business in the United States. So essentially be paying to be doing business in the United States. I guess you could say they could appeal it, but for the most part, I think we're going to be very fair. But it's not possible to meet the number of people that want to see us. And but this was coming to UAE was very important. Coming to Saudi Arabia and Qatar was very important to me because of personal relationships that I had, maybe more than anything else.
There you go. So the president talking about, and remember, there is a lot of criticism of the president because he did choose to go to the Middle East first, as opposed to going to Europe, going to Canada, going to, a NATO country. He wanted to go to the Middle East, and it's been an incredibly robust trip. As a matter of fact, I mean, Saudi Arabia, he put together a deal basically worth $600 billion, also in Qatar. He put together a massive deal worth, I think it was it 1.2 trillion? It was 1.2 trillion, along with that massive Boeing deal that we spoke about yesterday. And now this morning, we are finding out the United States and the United Arab Emirates, they will partner to build a massive data center complex in Abu Dhabi. And they're saying this is to advance artificial intelligence capabilities with 5 gigawatts of capacity, enough to power a major city. The agreement, announced Thursday evening during President Donald Trump's visit to the United Arab Emirates, will mark the largest data center deployment outside of the United States, according to the Commerce Department. It will begin with a 1 gigawatt AI data center, but will eventually span 10 square miles. The White House also announcing on Thursday an agreement under which the United Arab Emirates has committed to build or finance data centers here in the United States that are at least as large and as powerful as those in the United Arab Emirates. So I think for President Donald Trump, it is most definitely a job well done, and we're going to find out more details about these trips. Also, by the way, what did the president have to say? Joan, do you remember we talked about this? We talked about whether or not, hate to have a Mandis was right moment, but remember when I said, oh, they're going to talk about Gaza. They've got to talk about making Gaza into some sort of a resort town.
Oh,
remember all that whole thing?
Did they talk about it?
Well, I don't know, Joan. Let's go to the tape.
We're going to handle a couple of situations that you have here. We have some very serious situations, and we're looking at Gaza, and we got to get that taken care of. A lot of people are starving. A lot of people there's a lot of bad things going on.
All right, so they didn't quite talk about making it into a resort town. But you gotta help the starving people first. Then you can make it into a resort town.
Absolutely.
I think that's what it is. All right, maybe I wasn't right in that situation. I don't know, whatever. All right, it is 5:21. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. KGB, if you're on the Super Text line, just very quickly, we're talking about how people, I'm not on it yet. It's been a very busy morning in my world. But are people writing in their nominee for the Out of Order Award?
Right now, I'm looking mainly at the YouTube chat, but a lot of people are PO'd about Comey and they want him arrested. That's the biggest in the chat line right now. I haven't seen anyone really write in anything else. I think Comey's going to run away with this.
Okay. And
even Tulsi Gabbard believes that Comey should be in jail.
I've got that audio, Joan.
Oh, you do? Good.
I do. I've got the audio. I woke up. This is what it's like in my world.
Yeah.
Where, I am oblivious after anything that happens at like 4:30 in the afternoon.
I know. Sometimes I text you. I'm like, Dan.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so
that's when you're late.
And so for me, I wake up this morning and I see this story and I woke up this morning to like 7 or 8 different text messages from people telling me, don't miss this story. And it's like, I got it. So
what time were they texting you?
Oh, I get texts all the way up till like 10 o'clock at night. I wake up to text messages. Now, if I, because I am a man of a certain age, it's hard for me to get through the night without having to get up and go to the bathroom.
Do you look at your phone?
You know what?
I don't.
That is a whole conversation which we'll get into maybe at the 5:35. Anyway, I'm ticked as all get out at James Comey as well. We'll talk about that, including what Tulsi Gabbard did have to say. It is all straight ahead, and Joan Jones has the news at 5:30.
Yeah, it's a severe weather day. We're going to get you up to date on the latest information about this approaching storm system. Also, the new technology installed at Metro high schools is really doing its job. Those stories coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Inquiring minds want to know, what exactly is it that we give Bandit, my dog, to deal with the storms? Trazodone and gabapentin.
Oh, you get the double whammy.
Oh, yeah. And just so you folks know, we have tried everything with this dog. And so we give him 2 trazodone and 1 gabapentin. That is recommended by the veterinarian. And he basically what it does is it puts him to sleep. Now, if you decide to go down that road, make sure that your dog has an empty bladder. It is a whole thing in our house. Because if he doesn't, then what happens is he just kind of does a drunk walk around the house, and he just loses control, and he just pees. So you can always tell when the dog is, number one, stressed about storms, and number 2, had a lot to drink, because you walk into the house, and there's like this stream of Bandit pee as he just walked.
Ah, poor guy.
Yeah. You know, that's why we ended up getting flooring. We got rid of our carpet because Bandit kept peeing in it.
Yeah.
On it. It's like, honey, screw it. Honey, my wife. Amy, screw it. We gotta just, get actual flooring, and so we did. That shows the love that I have for Bandit, the stupid dog. Anyway, moving right along. It's 5:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top story. Strong to severe storms could barrel through the mid-state this afternoon. Stefano DiPietro telling us that unlike yesterday's spotty storms, everyone should expect to feel it today.
It's mainly going to be the worst hours of weather between 4 o'clock this afternoon and 3 o'clock overnight tonight into early on Saturday. We are now at a level 4 out of 5 on that scale north of Interstate 40. The rest of the mid-state is sitting at a 3 out of 5.
Heavy rain with wind, hail, and potentially tornadoes as well. For the third time in the past week, a weapon has been found in a Nashville student's backpack. Yesterday, the Evolve Weapons Detection System picked up a student's backpack at Whites Creek High School. This mom, Melanie Coleman, tells Channel 4 she is thankful for that new technology.
It's unfortunate that it took that tragedy, but from the tragedy, we know now that we've got these systems in the schools protecting our babies. And hopefully, right now they're in high school. Let's get them in middle school, because I'm sure they have the same issues.
Now, the scanners found weapons on students at Maplewood High School Tuesday and at Antioch High School last Thursday. Early this morning, President Trump said he wants to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin himself to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine.
We got to stop the killing. 5,000 people a week. 5,000 young people a week on average being killed in a war that is going nowhere. It's a shame. Should have never happened.
The president suggesting that meeting should be as soon as we can set it up. Those are his words. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Yeah, still no delays. This morning, things are looking really good on all the major roadways heading into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Need some audio, KGB? Por favor, please. Just real quick, Joan.
Yeah.
So how do we know that the Democrats are losing their ever-loving minds without them actually telling us that they're losing their ever-loving minds? Do you know?
Well, by their actions.
By this. Listen very closely.
Okay.
Discrimination against black people. We are in a moment of anti-blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-blackness is to be pro-black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations.
Oh, wow.
That's Ayanna Pressley. So you know the Democrats are getting their arse kicked when they start ratcheting up all of the, divisive racial angst, and they start talking about, they need to have their reparations and all that kind of stuff. And again, that is Ayanna Pressley, and she is a Democrat representative out of Massachusetts.
What evidence is there that anti-blackness, whatever that is, has been ratcheted up?
I don't know, actually. That's a great question, Joan.
Where's she coming off with that?
She's Ayanna Pressley.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's what they do. She also looks like a linebacker. So James Comey,
a bald linebacker.
Yes. James Comey.
Ooh, this one infuriates me.
Calling for violence against Donald Trump. There's a big story today. He posts a photo on Instagram. It's a bunch of seashells that spelled out 8647. He captioned the photo, "Cool shell formation on my walk." Now, 8647. 86 means to eliminate. 47, of course, means Donald Trump, 47th President of the United States. From the Daily Beast, many White House officials and allies of President Donald Trump claimed that the message was a call for his assassination. Well, Daily Beast, that's because it is.
It is, absolutely.
Several top Trump officials, including Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, interpreted the post as a threat to President Donald Trump and subsequently called for criminal charges.
NBC News is echoing that line as well. The post by former FBI Director James Comey that several U.S. officials interpreted as calling for the assassination of President Trump.
Well,
it's not interpreted. That is the exact meaning of it.
Yeah. This is from the Daily Mail. Because, again, listen to how they're framing this, Joan, is that, this is a problem with MAGA. This is a problem with Trump supporters. They're interpreting this as, well, we'll get into that in a second. Many within Trump's orbit have understood the 47 to represent Trump's current term as the 47th President of the United States. Meanwhile, 86, listen to this, is common restaurant vernacular for get rid of something or to ban an individual from the establishment.
No.
Again, though many in Trump's orbit have tried to argue that the phrase is an explicit call for someone to be killed.
In the restaurant industry, when something has been 86, it means you've run out of it. It's not like it's off the menu.
So Comey deletes the post within hours and wrote in a follow-up statement on Instagram, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks, those numbers associate them with violence. He says, I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, he says, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Now, that's a bunch of BS because...
If the man who had been leading the FBI does not understand the implications of that post, then he's dimmer than anything we had ever known.
Well, and here's the thing. Obviously, he's just playing a game. It's what they do. Yep. They play games. So all of these anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protests over the last couple of months, 8647 has been sort of like a call, a clarion call, if you will. It's something that people have been writing on their signs, 8647. It has become code. And so for James Comey to sit here and say, I had no idea some people associated that with violence. Now, Tulsi Gabbard, she's not buying it.
Absolutely not. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86.
Yep. I mean, clearly she is right. Now, remember the history of the former FBI director and Donald Trump. It was his FBI that started the Russia collusion investigation. He's the guy, many claim, who leaked the Steele dossier regarding Donald Trump to CNN. Mm-hmm. He was also the guy who came up with and executed the entrapment of Michael Flynn, Trump's national security advisor, which, of course, led to the accusations, among other things, of Russian collusion. And Donald Trump fired James Comey, who absolutely deserved to be fired. And he wrote that book, that oh-so-self-righteous book, blasting Donald Trump. So the two have a very storied history. And for James Comey, of course, posting this shell formation 8647, it is obvious what he is doing. These two clearly have a nasty history. And James Comey, is a very big part of the swamp.
Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States.
Yeah. I mean, just check out the, we talked about it at the time a while ago, and this is one of those things that these leftists are doing. Let's not forget, and actually I have audio from Tulsi Gabbard where she does bring this up. Let's not forget, Joan, the assassination culture.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think it plays right into it.
Yeah. I mean, they started this whole thing, 8647. Now, here's the deal. Trump has suffered through not one, but two assassination attempts. And so these Democrats, man, they are just, they're nasty. There is no other way to say it. This is a reprehensible, nasty, vicious, vile group of people. And they have nothing to say. Nobody is going to come out and say, you know what, former FBI Director James Comey, 8647 shell formation, posting that's out of order. No Democrat is going to say that. No Democrat is going to come out and say to James Comey, that was out of order. But it was.
Can you imagine? So Kristi Noem is calling. She said DHS and Secret Service is investigating this threat and will respond appropriately. And I was just thinking about the moment that, an officer or a Secret Service agent knocks on his door and the smarmy look on his face when that door is opened. I mean, he will know that they're coming to his door because they have to.
Right.
And when they get there, he opens that door. He is going to know that he'll get away with this because he's James Comey.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the sad thing is he will get away with it.
He will.
I think do I believe that he ought to be thrown in handcuffs? Absolutely. By the way,
Tim Burchett agrees with you, by the way, calling for him to be arrested.
Well, I mean, yeah. Every Republican
honestly.
should be.
Yeah.
James Comey, by the way, has a book coming out next week.
Oh, well, now you know why he's doing this.
Right? He's got a book coming out next week. So, yeah, here's more from Tulsi Gabbard.
So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for. The dangerousness of this cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life, when we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences. This is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country.
All right. So to me, it is clear that he called for the assassination of Donald Trump. I mean, to me, that is clear. And I don't think that that's hyperbole. I don't think that what I'm saying is rhetoric. I'm not saying this because I'm a Donald Trump supporter. I'm saying this because that is what James Comey did. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, you said this, Joan, writing on X that the issue is indeed under investigation. From Fox News, she said James Comey just called for the assassination of Donald Trump and added that her agency and the Secret Service are investigating this threat and will respond appropriately. Current FBI Director Kash Patel saying in a separate statement that we are aware of the recent tweet by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Sean Curran. Is it Curran? The Secret Service Director?
Curran,
yes. Curran. Is it Curran?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Primary.
That guy.
That guy. You know what? The guy that saved, well, I don't think he saved Donald Trump's life, but he was right there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he is now the head of Secret Service. Primary jurisdiction, they say, Kash Patel says, is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide the necessary support. So, I mean, it sounds like all hands are on deck, as they should. And by the way, you'll notice that James Comey did this while Donald Trump is in the Middle East. So you also have that part of the story. The whole thing is just, number one, it's chicken. Because if you posted 8647, knowing that because he admitted, he knew that it had a political connotation. He had no idea, though, that 86 meant eliminate.
That's a lie.
I'm a moron. And I know what 86 means. KGB, did you know what 86 means? If somebody said, we really need to 86 Mandis, you know what that means.
Cut him. Like, yeah, it's, I remember Gordon Ramsay, I used to watch his, cooking shows. He always say, 86 this, it's not in the menu anymore. Like, he always cut it. So I always knew it as, cutting something.
Yeah.
Cutting it out of whatever's going on.
I would say eliminating.
I actually looked up. The definition actually has the word eliminate in it.
There you go. I grokked it. You want to hear what Grok says? The term 86 does not, they say, inherently mean to kill, but in restaurants it can mean to remove an item from the menu. But they say in some contexts, particularly in pop culture or slang, 86 can be used to imply getting rid of someone or something permanently, including killing.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There has to be accountability for this. There was a Rutgers study that just came out a little over a month ago that asked respondents their view on these calls to assassinate President Trump. And over 55% of respondents felt that murdering President Trump would be, quote unquote, somewhat justified. This is the effect of people like James Comey doing this kind of stuff. This study also pointed out that there is a quote-unquote assassination culture that is starting to take over the views of what they call the extreme left.
A lot of people on the super text line saying that 8647 is a dog whistle. Mario, Comey is blowing the dog whistle for the crazy left. And 2626 says, how are we the violent ones? 8791.
Yep.
8791. Isn't that what they always call dog whistling? Yeah, that is what it is. By the way, earlier I was talking about my stare down with a deer this morning on Lebanon Pike there in Mount Juliet. Apparently, one of our dear listeners, Jody, hit a deer with his car. I guess it was earlier this week or something. And I happen to know that Jody is listening in earphones right now to Nashville's morning news. So apparently, Jody, I hope your car is okay. I wonder what happened to the deer. You know, there's so.
Is Jody okay?
Jody's okay. Jody's working. He's working.
Oh, I see.
He's listening to the show in his headphones apparently. And so, Jody, hope you're okay. I wonder how the deer, turned out. Did the deer survive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Most deer don't survive. And, deer, they're really cute until they won't get the hell out of the way.
Right.
Anyway. All right, very quickly. I think we can all agree that, for James Comey.
You are out of order.
Absolutely.
He is out of order. Real quickly, let's go from James Comey, a true American idiot, to someone who is not an idiot, and that is Kid Rock. Now, Kid Rock was talking about Bruce Springsteen, another American idiot. So you've got James Comey and you've got Bruce Springsteen. By the way, our Daily Dan poll today is, who do you believe should get the Al Pacino Award for being out of order this week? You've got James Comey, Jake Tapper, or Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen said this.
In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration.
So that is Bruce
What a
Springsteen,
jerk.
and he's in Europe. So I can't say what I want to say, but that is really wussy with a P. To go out and do that as chicken stuff.
Yes.
Where, okay, I'm going to, tough guy, Bruce Springsteen, right? He's going to go off to Europe to bash our president, obviously just like the Dixie Chicks. Kid Rock was on with Jesse Waters, and this is what he had to say.
First of all, let's break it down. Pound for pound, when it comes to heartland rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen's made some good songs. I'll give him that. Bob Seger smokes them any day of the week.
Absolutely.
In my book. I mean, Bruce Springsteen's another one of these liberals who has mountains of money that so desperately wants to keep his good standing in the eyes of Hollywood and the elite, but plays like this working class guy. You know what I mean? His politics are so ass backwards. I mean, just stay in Europe, Bruce. Have fun.
I mean,
that's a good idea.
Yes.
Stay where you are.
Listen, if you hated in America so much, please just, go move to Ireland with Rosie O'Donnell. The obvious comparisons, of course, to the band formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, who decided to go to Europe again and spout off.
Well, remember how this worked out for the Dixie Chicks a few years ago?
Yeah. They had to change their name.
Yeah, I think they changed their name to the Chicks. And then another country band, Lady Antebellum, changed their name to Lady A. So I actually went and got the domain name in case I ever want to do a country record. And my country band will be called Dixie Antebellum.
See, I love that. Kid Rock on Jesse Waters last night. So Bruce Springsteen, I mean, to be honest, I don't really expect much, and I'm not a big fan of Bruce Springsteen, to be honest with you. Like Kid Rock said, he's got a few good songs, But the whole mumbling thing, I don't understand whether it's no other way to say it, man. Whether it's Bob Dylan or Bruce Springsteen, I don't get the mumbling thing. I don't understand it. But
back in the day, Bruce Springsteen was like everything in the 80s, that was, I mean, every song over and over again. I'd play it over and over again. I can't even begin to think about listening to his songs anymore.
Listen, if you want to hear good music, Morgan Wallen's new album dropped.
You said you like this.
Morgan Wallen's new album dropped literally this morning, 37 songs. I got through about half the album this morning. It is absolutely epically good. So good on you, Morgan Wallen, and good on you, Joe Jones, who has the news at 6.
Yeah, so we have this risk of severe storms, and it's pretty high today, too, for today and tonight. We're going to tell you what Stefano has to say about all of that and what's happening in Gallatin. There was a big police presence there overnight. Those stories and more at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, coming up, Mike Johnson's big, beautiful bill. And is it going to pass? Well, they decided to take a 3-day weekend, so I don't know how concerned they are. But I've got that story for you. And have you heard the latest diatribe, the latest slam on Donald Trump? Have you heard what the Democrats are trying now to say about the president? You're not going to believe it. I've got the story coming up on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got to be weather aware this afternoon and through the night. Stefano DiPietro telling us the severe threat level is a 3 in most of the area, but a 4 out of 5 in the areas north of I-40.
What exactly do those numbers mean to us? Well, when you start to get up into those higher end thresholds, it not only means that we have the likelihood of strong to severe thunderstorms, but it also means they're likely going to be more widespread and the intensity factor increasing as well.
Yeah, so as far as the timeline, things should start around here about 4 o'clock this afternoon and run through the early morning hours tomorrow. Well, some people in Gallatin are being allowed to go back in their homes this morning. There had been a large police presence seen along Lock 4 Road near the boat ramp and Nichols Lane. Now, it's not clear what was happening there. However, it was just a week ago that a man was shot and killed at a boat launch at Lock 4 Park. We will continue to try to find out what is happening there. Police in Laverne arresting a teenager, a minor, who took them on a pursuit last night. It ended in the Lake Forest subdivision. He was arrested and charged with, among other things, kidnapping for the handful of teens that he had in the car with him. The Sumner County school bus driver who crashed her bus in April, injuring students inside, is due in traffic court today. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Tennessee Highway Patrol telling us the bus driver lost control, went into a creek, and then hit a bridge. The bus ended up flipping on its side. 5 students and the driver were hurt.
That driver was put on administrative leave. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
After a stuttering start to Thursday's session, the S&P pulled off its 4th consecutive daily gain, rising 0.4%. The Dow Jones picked up 272 points yesterday to close at 42,323. The NASDAQ composite was the outlier, slipping about 0.2%. Customers who relied on Rite Aid will be shopping instead at CVS, Walgreens, Albertsons, Kroger, and others. As part of its bankruptcy, the pharmacy chain is transferring the assets of about 1,000 of its stores to one-time Rite Aid competitors. Demand from first-time homebuyers has hit a record low, with mortgage rates hovering around 7%. Home builders say that in the last quarter, sales were weaker than expected. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
We have a mixed bag here on the futures market. The Dow Jones Industrials are plus 271, but the NASDAQ is down 35, and the S&P 500 index up 24. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Traffic appears to be jammed up on I-40, the northbound lanes between Jefferson Pike and Bill France Boulevard. That's exits 61 and 65. They've been doing construction there overnight, and they're just wrapping that up now. Crash as well out at the airport, Briley Parkway at Glastonbury Road. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. There is so many stories that I want to cover for you today. So I do want to get right to it. Of course, Donald Trump, he has wrapped up now his, I would say, historic trip to the Middle East. And he has come away with a lot of positives for the United States. Of course, Saudi Arabia, $600 billion deal or deals, and that does not include all the Boeing planes that were also ordered by Saudi Arabia. So very successful trip there. Qatar, $1.2 trillion in deals. United Arab Emirates, they have also come up with a massive amount of deals there as well. I'm going to get into the details on that coming up. But I do want to play this piece of audio. I think this was actually day before yesterday, but for some reason I didn't catch this until this morning, where the president announced that he is going to be giving pay raises for the military. Listen to this.
And that's why in my 2026 budget includes across the board. Maybe you don't want it. Look, for the good of the country, you don't have to take it. Pay raises for each and every one of you, substantial pay raises. But you don't have to take it. You don't have to take it. You can go to your commanding officer, say, sir, I'd rather not take that pay. I love my country, sir. I refuse to take it. Anybody here, raise your hand, please, if you refuse to take it. Let's see here. All right. Well, at least we have smart people. That's good. So you do your duty for us, and as Commander-in-Chief, I will always do and fulfill my duty to you. That's what I'm doing.
I mean, it's so nice, obviously, to have a president who appreciates what the military brings to the table, which, in my opinion, far, far and away better than Joe Biden. Headline, Trump touts $200 billion in UAE deals as he wraps up the Middle East trip. And a lot of this has to do with artificial intelligence, AI, and they are working on billions and billions and billions of centers there in the United Arab Emirates related to artificial intelligence. And they will also be working with us to put some information centers here as well. So when you look at it, you got $600 billion in Saudi Arabia, Qatar $1.2 trillion, the United Arab Emirates, that's at least a couple $100 billion as well. And for the president, I got to tell you, I think that it was a very successful trip. And now the president, as you can imagine, he is looking forward to going home. It has been a long several days for the president, clearly, and he was asked a little bit ago if he is ready to go home. This is what he had to say.
It's been a tremendous time, and now it's time to go back home. My daughter had a baby. I'm going to go back home and see that little baby. And then we get back to a lot of work. We'll see what happens with Russia and Ukraine. I think It's something that's just, you got to stop the killing. 5,000 people a week. 5,000 young people a week on average being killed in a war that is going nowhere. It's a shame. It should have never happened. But we have other things to do also. Plus we have an Iran situation, which we're going to take care of. One way or the other, we're taking care of. It'll be taken care of 100%.
Yep, that is President Donald Trump on his way home. And which, forgive me, I should actually know this, but who had the baby?
Tiffany.
Tiffany, and that's his daughter?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, good for Tiffany.
That's his daughter with Marla Maples.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
Very good. Well, so he's got another little grandchild that he's got to get to know, and it's nice to have a president that will actually acknowledge all of his grandchildren.
It sure is. Yeah. And sad. I mean,
Joe
not
Biden,
sad for
with Joe Biden, because Joe Biden would not. Has he ever acknowledged Hunter's baby mama?
Well, I don't know. The baby mama, I think.
Or the baby.
He's mentioned, but I don't think he's mentioned the baby.
Yeah,
No.
they don't. They just don't.
Yep.
Yeah, they
To
just
be
don't.
fair, he hasn't really acknowledged his family because he was photoshopped in their last family portrait.
Yes.
Yeah, there is that. All right, now, have you heard the headlines? I just played you a couple of different audio bites of Donald Trump. Sounds great, but have you seen the video where Donald Trump, Joan, is in the Middle East and it looks like he's nodding off?
I didn't see it. You told me about it this morning, but I have not seen it.
So go see if you can find it.
Okay.
I think I may have posted it to my ex, but here's the thing. He actually, and I'm a Trump supporter, but he does look like he's nodding off. Now, for all I know, it's artificial intelligence. Who knows? But there is a video where Donald Trump, he is sitting in, I think it was Saudi Arabia, but he looks like he nods off for about 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Now, he does look tired, but here's the deal. I will give it to the left. If they want to say that he was nodding off, okay, fine. He was nodding off. I don't know if he was or not. It wouldn't surprise me if he was, because he has been working nonstop, not to mention, of course, all the flying that he's been doing from Washington, D.C., out to the Middle East and so forth. Yeah, I did. I posted it on my X feed. Daily Beast headline, though. Sleepy Trump caught on camera nodding off at a summit in Saudi Arabia. Now, whether or not he was nodding off is up for debate. But to me, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. I can admit, again, maybe he was falling asleep. But all that means is that Donald Trump was tired after the nonstop working. It's not a deal. It is not a big deal. Joe Biden fell asleep everywhere.
And didn't do anything. Right. We know that Donald Trump barely sleeps.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just at it all the time.
All the time.
He also twitches when he closes his eyes and he twitches. So yeah, he took a little nappy.
Not a big deal. All right, so you do you think that he may have nodded off there, John?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay, so
yeah.
KGB's busy. He's gonna.
No, I got it.
Did you see?
It did look like he nodded off.
All right, so let's all be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least he did. Like, Biden nodded off everywhere. We already discussed this. So, I mean, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He has been literally everywhere the last week.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna, sit here and say, oh no, he didn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, yesterday he talked for like what, an hour plus?
Yeah. He's been doing all these meetings, and
it's not like he's disappeared for a brief bit and then once he shows up, he falls asleep like Biden.
Right.
There is a the benefit of the doubt.
Right. And I don't care if he fell asleep or not, because here's the deal. He's getting stuff done. As Joan said, Trump is getting stuff done, and we are seeing results. So to me, I don't really care. But now the folks on the left are trying to say Sleepy Trump, hashtag Sleepy Trump, right?
Gosh.
But that's not even the whole story, Joan.
Oh, really?
Do you know what else they're saying about Donald Trump?
What's that?
Dementia Dawn.
Dementia Dawn. Give me a break.
Oh, wait till you hear this. It is coming up next. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
All right, right now we have an accident on I-840 northbound between Jefferson Pike, exit 61, and Bill France Boulevard, exit 65, And looking around the downtown Nashville area, everything is smooth sailing. No other accidents to report around the area. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
As far as your weather goes, today, Friday, a high of 87. Strong storms are expected later on this afternoon. Saturday, a high of 88. Scattered showers on Sunday. High of 84, scattered showers as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so the Democrats are now trying to make Sleepy Trump and Dementia Dawn happen on the socials. Now, White House insiders, this is the Daily Mail reporting this from this morning. White House insiders say that Trump may be increasingly leaning on Melania, not only for just emotional, but also physical support. One source reveals there is a possibility that he is reaching for Melania for both emotional and physical stability. They say the president is getting older. His gait is not as steady. Now, gait meaning how he walks. Now, I just watched a couple of videos of Donald Trump. He's walking fine. No problem whatsoever. But listen to Lawrence O'Donnell, one of the many village idiots on MSNBC.
America is, at this hour, completing the 52nd day of having a president of the United States whose brain does not work. Donald Trump's brain is broken, badly damaged.
So, and that was, several weeks ago when he was saying that. This is something that the left has been trying to sell for quite some time. Do you know who else they dug out? Omarosa.
Oh, goodness.
Omarosa. They pulled out Omarosa to talk about this.
Donald was unable to recall basic figures. He would forget the name of his cabinet members. He would forget key details of policy issues that we were talking about as we were preparing for him to go out on stage. This was after he was briefed just moments before. The reason Donald Trump is canceling these interviews is that when he starts to stumble, he starts to pivot. He wants to talk about you. He'll start attacking you, Laura, instead of talking about policy issues because he can't recall what they are. And that's what you're seeing in his decline right now.
There you go, Omarosa. So this is what they're trying to do, desperately trying to sell Dementia Dawn. Then there's a guy named Timothy O'Brien. Again, this is on MSNBC. Now realize that all of these folks that I'm quoting here and I'm playing audio is from MSNBC. But isn't it rich about how you have all of these people trying to make this hashtag, this narrative, Dementia Dawn trend or Sleepy Trump trend, when the reality is there's ample evidence that he is not showing any signs of slipping. I mean, here's the thing. This is a man who spent how many hours? 3+ hours just speaking extemporaneously with Joe Rogan and speaking extemporaneously with Theo Vaughn. So for me, I think it sounds really, really rich for them to try to sell this. Obviously, all of these same people have been ignoring and had been ignoring Joe Biden's clear decline for a long time. But don't let the actual performances of Donald Trump get in the way of a good narrative or a good distraction. This was that guy named Timothy O'Brien on MSNBC.
Donald Trump has aged. He's turning 79 in June. He lives in fear of going down the path his father went down, which was dementia followed by Alzheimer's into his 90s. And I think he's carried that burden forever. And watching how he answers questions now compared to Donald Trump and Trump 1.0, he slurs his words a little. He looks weary. He is slouched.
So he looks weary. Again, we'll talk about the flying. But I just think for all these folks that never called out Biden, this is so clearly ridiculous. But also remember a few other things, because as Donald Trump gets older, this is going to be a familiar attack. Remember back during the first administration, you had all of these psychiatrists talk about how much of a narcissist Donald Trump was or is, and that they constantly said that he is unfit. You have all of these doctors that are out there commenting on all things Donald Trump, from his body language to his speech patterns as well. And every interview, every blink, everything that he says is going to be analyzed and overanalyzed. Every stumble, every mistake he makes is going to be overanalyzed and way over scrutinized. And the reality is that, at least to me, I'm not seeing a change in Donald Trump at all. Now, to be honest, and Joan, I think you would agree with me, maybe not, but all of this is fair game. Because if you're a president, then you do have to be judged and you do have to be watched, because you are the most important person, not only in America, but the world. They like to say you are the leader of the free world if you are the president of the United States. So, yeah, he should be judged. We should all be watching Donald Trump to make sure everything is fine, right, well, and good. I believe that everything is. But where was all of this concern when it was Joe Biden in office? Now, that's number one. Number two, all these people on MSNBC, they are ignoring the results that Donald Trump has brought to America over the last, 3.5 months, because he has had a lot of wins, win after win after win after win. And I think that those wins are going to continue. So just as we wrap up this segment, what I would say is this: as conservatives, we are better than the Democrats. And so if Donald Trump ever starts to show signs of actually having cognitive issues, Republicans and conservatives and Donald Trump supporters will be the first ones to mention it, to show caution and to show concern. I mean, I know I will, but right now I don't see anything. Joan, do you see anything?
I don't see anything at all. I just saw him walking with, a group of the sheikhs, dressed. They're all dressed in their robes, and he's striding along with them, keeping pace. He's just fine. I don't notice anything different about his gait. I think that I have not noticed. He's actually seemed very upbeat while he's been on this trip. And, I think that because he's enjoying, the art of the deal is who he is. So he's enjoying this. He seemed very upbeat. And I don't see any cognitive problems with him at all.
Have you heard what Baby Trump has to say about all this?
No.
You know what Baby Trump is?
No.
So there's this whole thing online, and it's like Instagram and whatever. But everybody now has their own little baby version of themselves, right? So there's like a baby Steve Bannon, and there's a baby Donald, so on and so forth. So this is what Baby Trump had to say about all of these accusations that he is now showing signs of dementia.
They say I fell asleep at a meeting in Saudi Arabia. Fake news. I closed my eyes for 2 seconds thinking, deep thinking, smart thinking. I just flew 12 hours, no sleep, straight into high-level talks. And guess what? I still ran the room. No teleprompter, no naps, unlike Sleepy Joe. They call it dozing off. I call it global strategy. America's back. Stronger, smarter, and wide awake.
There you go. Instagram.
I love it.
This whole like baby trend.
Is that like AI generated?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. If you, I don't know if because I'm not really on Instagram or TikTok, but I mean, it's a simple Google search. If you can find it, it's everywhere, and it is incredibly funny. All right. By the way, speaking of incredibly funny, I've got some really funny Kid Rock audio coming up.
Oh, good.
He was on with Jesse Waters. I think it was last night. And he had a comment to make about the birth decline, the baby decline in America. And that is coming up. 6:24 now. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, President Trump extends an olive branch to Iran. And attention Costco shoppers, the company's inviting you to rack up debt. We'll explain that and more coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 6:25, Dan here. We do have some crazy weather coming. Maybe possibly some tornadoes. You never know. Might be a hail, high winds, certainly. But we do know that Middle Tennessee is prone to power outages. Now, when your neighborhood's power is out, your power at your home is going to be back on if you do what I'm going to tell you to do, which is call my friends at the Generator Supercenter and get a backup home standby generator from these folks, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark. Get that backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. They've got financing available at 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, online, GeneratorSupercenterofNashville.com. Dan Mandis here. Listen, if you've got credit cards that are maxed out, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. You can get cash out right now without touching that low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and no BS. The rapid equity loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. Now, one Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, they renovated their kitchen, and yes, cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That clearly is a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, and no hard credit pull up front. You want to call them, 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com, 615-499-5780. Get debt relief right now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. .629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTNR. Kid Rock was on with Jesse Waters. I think it was last night. But they were talking about the anti-Trump, anti-Musk rallies. And Kid Rock had what I thought was a very astute observation.
Listen, I was just watching your clips. And, you know, we have this low birth rate in America, and it all made sense to me. It just hit me right now, because who's going to sleep with these ugly-ass, broke, crazy, deranged TDS liberal women? I mean, you look at these rallies, it's like a bunch of women that no guy wants to sleep with and a bunch of dudes that want to sleep with each other.
Wow.
Fact check true.
Yeah.
6:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got severe weather expected to hit the mid-state area this afternoon, all the way through tonight into tomorrow morning. Stick around. We've got Stefano's forecast coming up right after the news. An American proposal is on the table now for Iran, and President Trump says Iran knows it has to act quickly on it.
Move quickly, or something bad's going to happen.
He was speaking there while aboard Air Force One as he's departing the Middle East now. He's also promising progress in the Russia-Ukraine war.
President Trump, during his Middle East tour, saying he wants to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, quotes, as soon as we can set it up to try to negotiate an end to Russia's war in Ukraine. Delegates from Russia and Ukraine meeting for the first time in over 3 years for direct negotiations. This, at least, a glimmer of light.
ABC's Ian Pannell there. Locally, a 12-year-old Nashville student is in serious trouble with police. He's accused of making a threat of mass violence. He is a former Henry Maxwell Elementary School student in a group chat with more than a dozen other teens when he said he was going to, quote, come back for revenge, and then posted a photo of a handgun to the group and told them they can, quote, have a great life if they can. Costco is now offering the buy now, pay later option for its shoppers, but this is only for online shoppers if they spend more than $500. Costco says it's offering several payment plans as well to pay off that debt. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:31, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Want to welcome on in Lenny McGill. You know, Lenny from the Glock store. Lenny, how are you?
Hello, Dan Mendes. Hello, Nashville. I'm doing well.
So,
a little bit of rain today, maybe. Who knows?
I know that you guys are really getting ready for the big open house, the 5th annual open house at the Glock store, Saturday, May 31st. Spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about the progress you're making and what folks can expect. Talk about what the latest is.
Well, you know, this is our 5th anniversary, and what's really neat is that we have been with WTN really since the beginning, advertising, and it's been working out great. You guys are doing a great job down there, so thank you. We've got a huge crowd coming. Typically, we get about 600 or 800 people, but this year we are giving away 3 guns, 3 Glocks, should I say. Mm-hmm. One of them is a Trump Glock. Commemorative Donald Trump presidency Glock.
So I got to ask this. So what does a Trump Glock look like?
Well, it's actually got his picture on the side, and it says "Fight, Fight, Fight." I believe is what it says.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It really is. It's definitely a keepsake. It's a commemorative type thing, and we've sold a bunch of them, and we've decided to give one away this year. So we've got 3 guns we're going to give away. We've got food trucks there, of course. We're giving away. We've got raffles the entire day. I mean, we are giving away literally about $30,000 worth of merchandise. And we've got some machine gun rooms set up too, so you can come in and actually, rent a machine gun and play with it, and it's really cool. We've got a full auto Glock as well, so there's some really neat stuff that you can't find just about anywhere else.
I will never forget the moment I fired one of those machine guns. Holy mackerel! So, Lenny, will you do me a favor and shoot me a picture? No pun intended. Will you send me a picture of that Trump Glock?
I will. Yeah, I will. Obviously, I'm not at the office right now, but I will later today, and we'll make sure that you guys get one over there.
All right, Lenny, thank you very much. And don't forget, friends, Saturday, May 31st, the Glock Store's 5th annual open house. Details, shoot270.com and glockstore.com. .634, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mendes here for my window company, Window Nation. Now, I endorse these folks because they did great work for me. Now, they put new windows in my basement studio, my kitchen, and my bedroom. They look fantastic, and they can do the same thing for you. So if you've got old and inefficient windows like I did, it's time to upgrade with Window Nation. They were ranked as the highest on Forbes' list of best window installers. Now, right now, a great deal for my listeners. You buy 4 windows, you're going to get 4 additional windows absolutely free, plus no payments or interest until 2027. And these windows made right here in the USA. Now, these windows are energy efficient, so not only are you saving money on install, but on those electricity bills as well. Now, how do I know that you're going to be happy? They've got a 96% satisfaction rating in over 20,000 five-star reviews. Don't forget that great deal. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 additional windows free, no payments, no interest until 2027. 866-90-NATION is the phone number. 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Looks like there is a work on I-840 this morning, and the entrance ramp appears to be blocked from 24. They're working on some concrete there. Take that under advisement. I'm not really seeing any big delays at this point. 24 looks fine. Heading in, we have no problems on 40 this morning, and 65 also looks good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638 Nashville's Morning News. By the way, stay weather aware today. It's going to be a high of 87, but the headline is strong storms, and they're going to be starting. Joan, you said like around 4 o'clock, right?
Around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Now, there's some storms in the western portions of our listening area right now, but this is not part of what Stefano is saying later today, 4 o'clock-ish, all the way through tomorrow morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when it's going to really hit around here. And, he said that what's really fueling it is all the soupy air, the humidity really helps to charge up thunderstorms. So, yeah, we're looking at a potentially serious stuff. It's a 3 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5, depending on where you live, the severity threat. So it'll be an event tonight,
all right.
for sure.
I want a Trump Glock. Did you hear him talking about that?
It sounded very cool.
Doesn't that sound cool?
Yes.
A Trump Glock?
I mean, some people have the sneakers, but you could have the
Can we
Glock.
put like a blonde wig on top so when you shoot, the hair flips back?
Oh, I like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Sneakers? Trump's got sneakers?
You don't know this?
My gosh.
No, I didn't know.
It was during the election. It was all over his website.
Yeah,
My
that's one of
brother
the ways
got
he was
some.
raising money. Oh, your brother got some?
Yeah, the one that's in the hospital.
Are they orange?
No, they're gold and white.
Of course it is gold.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, speaking of my brother, we raised over $30,000 for him
on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very good.
Yeah, his family's gonna need that for like just I mean, he's going to be out of like work for like the next 6-7 months. So
yeah,
it's so useful. But he's doing good right now. He's just getting better, and just hopefully he'll get that transplant soon.
And so for folks that don't know, because it's something that happened very quickly on the show, but KGB's brother is in the hospital, needs a heart transplant. You put up a GoFundMe, and I think we only mentioned it like twice.
And people just
$30,000.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
And you guys, like on the chat and everything, have been nothing but like sending me prayers, saying my family prayers, and that is such a wonderful thing that my family desperately needed. And just, of course, if any family and friends are listening as well, we thank you guys as Wobies. You guys have donated. Everyone has just been so generous about this whole process, and I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
And Joan and I also thank you folks for doing that. By the way, I want to do a quick shout out to the hardworking trash haulers out there, especially Haulaway Services. Apparently, all the trash haulers are listening, and so I appreciate you listening.
We're the trashiest morning show you know.
Wow, look at Joan Jones.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We always keep it trashy.
We always keep it trashy. There you go.
You know, you can still get the Trump sneakers.
They're expensive, aren't they?
$500.
Yeah, they're Nikes like that too.
Well, I'd be willing to bet that Trump Glock is got to be expensive as all get out.
Yes.
If you had the Trump Glock, would you actually fire it?
Oh, yeah.
Would you? Because it's kind of a keepsake kind of a thing.
Sure, but if you had the Trump Glock and you told President Trump you had it and you never fired it, he'd say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
That's
Fire
true.
the thing.
That's true, actually. So, well, I'm going to...
Every Trump win fired into the sky.
Anyway.
You run out of bullets fast.
Very good. 641, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. By the way, that GoFundMe KGB is still up, correct?
Yes.
So if you want to donate.
Yeah.
Should the State Assembly step in on the situation between ICE and the city of Nashville? We have been covering this quite a bit, obviously. We had State Representative Scott Sapicki on the show yesterday talking about the next steps. I did think it was interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, Joan, but in the news today, I mean, I had like 3 or 4 people sending me the story about the worst of the worst, the top 5 of the worst that they arrested.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had that on like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Glad everybody else is catching up to us, I guess. But I mean, we had that. I had it. Thank you, though, for sending it to me. But, you know, you've got gang members in there and people that have been convicted of all kinds of horrible things. We know. Now, when I had Scott Sapicki in, he brought up something that I thought was really interesting. Should the State Assembly step in? And he laid it all out, and I thought it was really good. Let's not forget, you've got Mayor O'Connell, you've got State Representative Afton Bain, you've got Metro City Council member Sandra Sepulveda, all, in my opinion, they have broken the law. It's really interesting, this question. Are these 3 really breaking the law? Now, remember, Congressman Andy Ogles, he is calling for a federal investigation into Mayor O'Connell. The question is, has Freddie O'Connell broken the law, state or federal? Here is what State Rep Scott Sapicki told me yesterday. Listen.
Well, yes, I think if you look at it, U.S. Code 1325 and U.S. Code 1326, it talks about people entering the country illegally have committed a federal crime. If you are deported and you come back, that's 1326. That's an escalation of the crime. So now, okay, how does that apply to Freddie O'Connell here? Okay, we all take oaths of office. I take an oath of office. He takes an oath of office. Chief Drake takes an oath of office, right? And in that oath of office, it says that you will uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and all the laws therein. All the laws therein. In the state, we also have sanctuary city prohibition policies, not sanctuary cities. Because if you ban, one would argue that if you are an elected official and you are not upholding your oath of office, which is upholding the Constitution and the laws of the state of Tennessee and the federal government, then you are in violation of your oath of office. You are breaking the law.
Right. And I played that and I realized it's a longer cut, but he did lay it out perfectly. So just focusing on those here illegally, absent any other crimes, which we've obviously seen a lot of these folks that have committed other crimes. But, you know, just those people that snuck in and in other cases been deported and then they come back, clearly that is against the law, actually against the law times two. Mayor O'Connell, he takes an oath to uphold those laws, both state and the federal. If he is providing aid to, helping to set up funds for, or providing interference as the ICE raids are happening, then yes, Freddie O'Connell is breaking the law, according to State Representative Scott Sapicki. And then, of course, we turn to Afton Bain and Sandra Sepulveda, and I'm going to talk about that straight ahead because those two, at least to me, are more directly breaking the law. I'll explain coming up, 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. .46 on Nashville's Morning News. As far as your weather for today, high of 87. We've got strong storms this afternoon and through this evening. Saturday, high of 88, scattered showers. On Sunday, high of 84 and scattered showers. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So I believe that Freddie O'Connell broke the law. There's probably some gray area here. I was listening to Murphy's show yesterday. He always brings up such great points. He said that he believes that Freddie O'Connell will skate by. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But when you look at Afton Bain and Sandra Sepulveda, Afton Bain, the state representative, and Sandra Sepulveda, the Metro City Councilwoman, both of them were following ICE and live streamed their progress as they made their way through the city. To me, as they are tipping off the illegal aliens in their district, to me, that is more in direct violation of the law. I mean, to me, that is clearly aiding and abetting illegal aliens, people that are here illegally, including some of the people that they arrested, gang members, rapists, and murderers, and so forth.
When you are openly trying to help people evade the law by giving them a heads up, like some of our city council members and our representatives were doing.
Afton Bain and Sandra Sepulveda.
By trying to tip people off. What's the next step here, Dan?
Yes.
I think we've clearly set forth that there is some questions that need to be answered. Who's going to answer those questions for the people of Nashville? That's Glenn Funk, the district attorney.
That's right. And we know what Glenn Funk is going to do. Funk and nothing. Do you like that?
What? You went
language.
Yeah.
I said funking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, too late. I hit the dump button.
You did not.
I did not.
Because I worked really hard on that joke. Anyway, moving right on.
Amy, wake up. I got this joke.
I don't believe Glenn Funk will do anything. I just don't. Basically, here's the deal. And we talked about this. Will Nashville DA Glenn Funk actually look at the possibility that they broke the law? I don't believe that he will. I believe that these folks did break the law. Scott said, give it some time. And he was right, because I am awfully quick to jump in and say that, oh, Glenn Funk, he's not going to do anything. Well, then, of course, the state legislature might need to step in. And this is, to me, the most interesting part, intriguing part of the whole conversation. Basically, as the conversation unfolded, if Glenn Funk, the DA, won't do his job, the DA for Davidson County, Nashville, won't do his job and won't investigate Mayor O'Connell, won't investigate Afton Bain, won't investigate Sandra Sepulveda, well, right now, the Attorney General, the state's Attorney General, does not have, Jonathan Skrmetti, does not have the authority to reach into a district and step in where a local DA is not fulfilling his duty, his oath of office. Well, that's where the General Assembly could step in.
Now, we are one of the very few states in the country that really doesn't give our Attorney General, who's the Attorney General of the whole state, do we give him the authority that if a local district attorney is not going to do their job under their oath, do we give our AG the ability to reach into that district and prosecute those individuals. And those are the discussions we're starting to have as members of the General Assembly is, if this continues on and creates a pattern of willful disobedience to the law by elected officials, do we need to have a special session to come in to remedy this?
I mean, that is a great thought. Interesting thought. By the way, 1509 says DA Glenn Funk doesn't give a funk. Now, the governor can call for a special session. Now, he won't, because I believe that Governor Bill Lee is not willing to stand up for the people of Tennessee as passionately as he should be. But beyond all that, what will happen? And will the General Assembly, will the state legislature call a special session to give the Attorney General the ability to reach into a district and take over where a district attorney refuses? Now, let's talk about what has happened and is happening since all of this began. You have the mayor, O'Connell, setting up a fund for illegal alien families to help pay for expenses while they fight deportation. Seems to me like that is clearly aiding and abetting the Belonging Fund, which they say is not funded by taxpayer dollars. I would like to see that investigated. That's number one. Number two, you have the mayor demanding to know any communication with federal authorities regarding raids and such, in my opinion, so he can tip them off. It does seem to me that both of these are worthy of investigation by Glenn Funk, and if not Glenn Funk, then the Attorney General, if the General Assembly gives him that permission, gives him that right, gives him that authority. But it does seem to me that Afton Bain and Sandra Sepulveda, they clearly, and they more clearly, committed crimes by trying to tip off the community about these ICE raids. So we'll have to see what happens. That is a story that I am following, and we'll find out perhaps over the weekend, maybe into the early part of next week, if they will end up calling a special session in the state legislature to do what I believe needs to be done, which is get Jonathan Skrmetti, the Attorney General, after Mayor O'Connell and the state reps in the Metro City Council. 6:52, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7. Joan.
Yeah, storms today, Dan, and we have the potential to be severe. We'll bring you the latest information on that. Also, what became of those arguments before the Supreme Court over birthright citizenship yesterday? We've got that and more coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, and I've been telling you for years about United Structural Systems. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair as well. Friends, we've got a lot of rain on the way in the next 24 to 48 hours. I would highly recommend that you check out your basement, you check out your crawl space when the rain starts to come down to see if you've got any water or moisture down there, because if you do, then you need to call my friends at USS, United Structural Systems, because you need help with waterproofing. Now, I've been endorsing USS for years because they've done a lot of work for me over at the house, and that's why I do proudly endorse them. I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says that USS was highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own home. And he does give USS 5 stars all the way, as do I. Check him out. We guarantee our best. Call USS, 615-488-7855. As always, tell him Dan told you to reach out. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. 6:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My friend Samuel sent me a note. Seems like each of the Middle East countries that Trump visits, they're trying to see who can give Trump the grandest welcome. And Joan, that's true, isn't it?
We noticed that yesterday because
we did.
Yeah, you had the Arabian horses and then the camels.
So Saudi Arabia had the jets flying, escorting Trump into the airport. They did have the Arabian horses. Now, Qatar had the camels.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know which is more impressive. I think most people would say the Arabian horses are more impressive. But I thought the camels were cool as all get out.
Yeah.
Like, I really did. But then, you know what they did yesterday for Trump in the United Arab Emirates?
What'd they do?
Sword fighters.
Love it.
Now, can I just say this? I'm a little surprised that they let all of those people close to Trump with all those deadly weapons.
Oh.
Because he's walking right in front of all these people. And, I mean, they all had swords. I mean, whatever. I mean, obviously he's, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm so paranoid.
Maybe they warned him ahead of time.
Warned who? Trump?
Just his Secret Service, like, hey, these are professional, like, sword performers kind of thing.
Maybe.
Still.
It only takes one to go rogue.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. But listen, I think Trump had a great job, had a great trip. So this is what's interesting, Joan. Have you seen this? So there are some places that are reporting that Trump put a deal together with the United Arab Emirates worth $200 billion. Others are reporting $1.4 trillion. What is the? How do you have that much of a?
That's a big gap.
That is a huge gap.
Yeah.
So what are you reporting, or have you yet? I know I'm doing all the talking on this, but
I haven't put a price tag on it, but I'll check into it.
Yeah, check and see what ABC. Of course, we know ABC is anti-Trump, so they'll be like,
let's try another source.
He made $1.50 for America with United Arab Emirates. All right. Anyway, got to go. It's WTN.
Hello there, 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. You're going to notice how soupy it is outside this morning. And this is what forecasters, including Stefano DiPietro, call fuel for charging up strong thunderstorms.
The overall threat has continued to increase over the last 24 hours. And now areas north of Interstate 40, I would even say this is right near downtown Nashville, a level 4 out of 5 on that threat scale. It's a 3 out of 5 elsewhere across the mid-state.
Yeah, so these storms are expected to begin around 4 o'clock this afternoon and stretch into the early morning hours. Stefano says right around 11 o'clock or midnight tonight, there's going to be an outbreak of thunderstorms across this area. Those will probably be the ones we'll need to pay most attention to. A fight between a couple of people turned into a shootout in the parking lot of a busy Antioch strip mall yesterday. Here's Channel 4's Steve Mayling.
They say one of those guys was hit twice in the leg and then taken to a nearby hospital, while the other guy in this incident took off running. But it really is a miracle that no one else was hit as a result of this incident, just based on how wide the crime scene was from the stray bullets that were fired off in this parking lot. Now, from what we saw on scene, multiple businesses were hit by stray gunfire. Employees and customers told us they ducked for cover once the gunfire erupted. Over a dozen shots were fired based off evidence markers placed at the scene. One woman we spoke with tells us she was inches away from being hit.
Now, the fight happened outside the Antioch Wine and Liquor store. There's a recall of some pouches of baby food sold at Publix stores. It's the Greenwise brand of pear, kiwi, spinach, and pea pouches. And Publix says they are being recalled due to the potential to be contaminated with elevated levels of lead. If you've got these pouches, take them back to the store for a full refund. The Supreme Court hearing oral arguments yesterday over President Trump's emergency request to roll back nationwide injunctions that block his executive order to end birthright citizenship.
Justice Samuel Alito sounding sympathetic.
The practical problem is that there are 680 district court judges, and they are dedicated and they are scholarly, and I'm not impugning their motives in any way, but sometimes they're wrong.
But Justice Elena Kagan says the ban on birthright citizenship is different because all the courts seem to agree the ban is unconstitutional.
This case is very different from a lot of our nationwide injunction cases in which many of us have expressed frustration at the way district courts are doing their business.
And Justice Sonia Sotomayor noting the High Court has repeatedly reaffirmed the right to citizenship for every child born in this country.
ABC's Rachel Scott there. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Dow Jones futures are plus 271 right now. The NASDAQ futures, however, minus 35. S&P futures are up by 24. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Looks like 24, the westbound side, starting to jam up now around the Smyrna area. Things are moving slowly into that 40, the curve into 40. But otherwise on 40, things look pretty good so far this morning. And 65, just a minor delay as you're approaching the Goodlettsville area. Otherwise, doing okay. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And welcome on into a Friday. It is May 16th of 2025. We do have some severe weather coming in. It's going to be in, as you just heard in the weather report, around 4 o'clock or so. And then throughout the evening is when it may be coming. So we've got your complete forecast at the top and bottom of every hour. There is a lot going on. I want to just hit on a couple of things real quick. They're still working on the one big, beautiful bill. I've got some audio that I'm going to play here in a little bit from House Speaker Mike Johnson. And he doesn't sound very confident. I'm just going to tell you. He doesn't sound very confident. You'd have, as usual, the Republicans, they're not in consensus at all. You've got the budget hawks who are saying there's not enough cuts, there's not enough cuts. You've got the moderates, of course, who are Republicans in Democrat-friendly districts. They are always worried about, cutting too much because, of course, they're worried about losing their positions of power. And Speaker Mike Johnson, he says that he's going to get a consensus. I just don't know if he is. Right now, the biggest issues, of course, for me, is raising of the debt ceiling. Donald Trump wanted that done. That frustrates me a little bit, actually a lot of bit, but whatever. Also, Donald Trump's tax cuts. They do need to extend those tax cuts. They're talking about bringing SALT back. So that is also a very big deal. So you have a lot of sticking points in there. And by the way, once it passes the House, it's got to go to the Senate, and it's got to pass the Senate. So they're trying to come up with a way that everybody is going to be happy. And here's the problem, is that when you have to make everybody happy, and you do need to make everybody happy in the Senate, because it's got to pass the Senate. And so you've got Mike Johnson. He's trying to work with his caucus to get everybody on board, to get it out of the House and the Senate. They're working on reconciliation. And he doesn't sound confident to me. I just listened to a bunch of audio of his. I'll probably play it here after the news at 7:35. But it just doesn't sound like they are going to be able to come to terms on this, because there's just a lot of moving parts. And you have the budget hawks. You also have the Democrats, and you have those Republicans that are more moderate. So that's a lot of different factions. And so they're trying to get this one big, beautiful bill done. Here's the deal. If they don't, then what's going to happen? Then Trump's tax cuts will effectively sunset, or they'll be done. They'll expire, and then our taxes are all going to go up. So that's going to be a big issue. You know that Trump wants no taxes on tips. There's the conversation about Medicare and how Donald Trump is being accused of trying to cut entitlements. The Republicans are being accused of trying to cut entitlements. The Republicans will tell you, no. We are just trying to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse. So